Hey guys and gals, Shane Stevenson, Director of Museum Collections and Curator here at the Buffalo Naval Park. For today's video, it comes from a subscriber and a member, and one of the comments that he left asking where the ice cream machine was on Little Rock. So what I did was I reached out to the Little Rock Association and I said, hey, can you guys find out if anyone remembers where the ice cream machine was on Little Rock? They put it on their Facebook page, and we got 3 responses back. One said, I definitely remember there was an ice cream machine on board, I just don't remember where. Someone said it was starboard of the chow line near the Gee Dunk, which would be the ship's soda fountain and store. And then I had someone say it was aft of the mess deck in a hole in the wall. So I don't think I'll be able to find a hole in the wall on any of the blueprints, but I have the blueprints from 1960 from her conversion, and so we're going to take a look at those, and I'm going to point some things out, and we're going to take a walk to those spaces. Now really, most of the stuff is right behind me. Right, there's the ship's store and soda fountain right there, with that brick that we've talked about. So let's take a look at the blueprints. And again, these were from the conversions, and these are like a furnishing plan. Alright, so these actually had where the tables and desks and equipment were. I gotta put on my glasses. So, there's the chow line on starboard. So I am standing right here. We just looked down that passageway to the ship's stores and fountain. Right behind me would be one of the cruise lounges, and then a commissary office. So we do have this little in-cut right here, which is right here. So I'm wondering, this could have been a place where the Little Rock ice cream could be. As was mentioned, the chow line is right here, and he said just starboard of the chow line, which from our angle right now would be right here, right next to the ship's store, right here. Now one of the interesting things is that you'll see that there's a bulkhead here. Alright, until I looked at the plans, I didn't really realize that these were not original, but I don't know if this was added at some point in the ship's service after 1960, because again, these blueprints here are from 1960, but you'll see that it led, I don't even see a curtain. Right, sometimes they'll put a squiggly line for a curtain. So you'd walk right from the chow line right into the cruise lounge. Commissary office being right here makes sense, helping all the culinary specialists and guys from supply filling in the food, orders, inventory, helping to set menus for the crew. That makes sense that he'd be right here. So that door right there is right here, and right now it's our Sail to Steel office, or Sail to Steel exhibit, right, for the War of 1812. So at some point there would have been a bulkhead here, maybe some, got that, yeah, maybe somewhere around here. Alright, and then the lounge would have been over this way. So say starting from here over. Alright, and then this would have been the commissary's office. Alright, but at some point we put in this false bulkhead. Alright, and we've cut a window there. So there's been a lot of changes that have occurred in this particular space. Cruise lounge, commissary office. So one of the, that was a little sidebar there. But going back to here, I'm wondering if one of these could have been the ice cream machine, which would be right in this little corner right here. I'm not seeing any mounts. I mean, we have those right there, but I'm not seeing any floor mounting or anything like that. Okay, well, if we were to continue, the one answer, again, I know there was one on board, have no idea where it is. That doesn't really help us. Now for walking into the mess decks, now we are looking right here. And at first, just looking through, you know, these tables had condiments, coffee on them. I saw this thing right here, right next to the first class mess. And if you look again, there's the cutout right there. So I'm wondering maybe that's where, but all three of the responses said starboard. This is to port, so that leads me to believe that maybe the ice cream machine would not be there, because at least they all remembered it was starboard. But that is an interesting, again, maybe just more equipment for food. Soup maybe right here or something that wouldn't be served on the steam line. Then you come into the mess decks. All right, but if we were to walk aft through the mess decks, which will be through that door right there, we come to another spot that I find pretty interesting, another cruise lounge. All right, so we're going to head aft, past, we'll be coming out of this passage right here. So that means we're heading through the CPO areas, which are right here. All right, there's the CPO berthing. Coming right through our post office tailor shop, which is now our post office, and now our dunk for encampments is right around here. All right, could this be an ice cream machine? Again, it's not identified, and again, we also have now, with our dunk, a false bulkhead, and I'll explain something that's missing right over here. So let's take the walk. All right, we do have people on board, so we are open. How are you? All right, to our left would have been is a little rock display, but it was where the lockers were for the CPOs. So you can see those tracks running right there. Those were pullouts, and they were able to hang uniforms and items of clothing along there. And now we come to that area that I was just showing you. The original post office was here. All right, we have moved it for display purposes into the tailor shop right here. All right, and as you can see, there's that blunted corner, which you can clearly see right there in the tailor shop. So this was Cruise Lounge. And okay, there's the deck hatch. Yeah, for a second I thought it was shaped differently or in a different position, but it's not. But if you take a look, if I use this perspective, it looks a lot wider than it does here. So at some point, this was constructed for our dunk, again, for encampments. This is where the kids go to get popcorn, soda, things like that. And so this whole area would have been open probably up to this bulkhead here. So all along here was built post-service or aftermarket, however you want to say it. And again, right to about here. All right, we see damage control. Ooh. All right, we see damage control right there. Sorry, get my pen over there. Secondary damage control. And here it is right there. Tailor shop. So somewhere in here, if I'm looking at that little rectangle there, would have been in here, and then the rest of this space would have been the crew's lounge. All right, the aviation workshop right here. All right. Matches right there. But you can see this was a lot larger. And so maybe an ice cream machine would have been there. I find it a little odd that it would be so far away from the mess decks, but that was one of the responses, was it was aft of the mess decks. And so now you're getting again into the CPO lounge, you're getting into the CPO berthing, so it wouldn't have been there potentially. So for all of the crew, for all enlisteds, this would have been the next gathering space aft of the mess decks. But just a thought. Also interesting on here is that our chief petty officer's barber shop, which was right here, I don't see a compartment number anywhere, but it's got the barber shop pole in there that's still painted from while she was in service, and it is not listed here. All right, so maybe we have the watertight trunk. Bingo, right here is the watertight trunk that you see right there. And so then this says decontamination station number 2. So at some point they cut into this to build the CPO's barbershop. And again, these plans are right from 1960. They were filed December 30th, 1960. The ship was in service, came back into service on the 3rd of June, 1960. And then these were filed with the Bureau of Ships probably on December 30th, 1960. So could it have been here? Could it have been at the cutout that we looked? Could it have been, yeah, right here? Could it have been in the cutout that we saw next to the ship's store and fountain? But so that's a little mystery. All right, and then I learned a little bit about the ice cream barge that was bought from the U.S. Army, a concrete barge that was able to make 500 gallons of ice cream per shift. I don't know if they worked 24/7 or if it was a 2-shift operation. But that barge was stationed at Ulithi, at the atoll there, and the forward base that we had in Ulithi, and they would deliver ice cream to the sailors and the ships. One other area that I would like to show, I don't think we've really talked about it, and especially not using these blueprints here, is coming to port. So now I'm standing roughly right here, going through this passage, showing the vegetable prep, the bakery storeroom, the butcher shop, the elevator trunk, and the bakery. Now I don't have a key to get into any of these spaces, but it's pretty cool. They've all been converted now. Now a lot of these spaces here hold our freezers and our perishables for encampments. All right, so the vegetable prep actually turned into our swab locker. I've never been in the bakery storeroom. All right, I've been in the bakery, and that's our freezer room right now. And the butcher shop, I think, is dry goods. Again, these are spaces all used now for our encampments. But you know, the compartment numbers match perfectly. Ha! Here's our swab locker, which again was the vegetable prep area. There's it right there. All right. Another chow line. Here's the bread room. All right, as listed on here as the bakery storeroom. Yep, right there. B204L. B204L. Right next to that was the commissary storeroom. right here, and there it is right there. Again, it matches, the compartment numbers match. It does say garbage disposal room, but it's B2042L, right, which does match the commissary right there. Our butcher shop, as I had mentioned, is now the dry goods area. All right, it does say issue room, B204L again, right there, B204L, and then we come through here. There's the elevator trunk, which is right, that X right there. All right, so that leads right up to the main deck. And then here is our freezer room, which was the bakery during time in service. And right here. So obviously there's been some aftermarket work done on this door, at least to the best that I can tell, though it is a Dutch door, a half door. Doesn't seem as though anything, it just seems like a blank plate right there. But that is our bakery. So anyway, if any of you old Little Rock guys who served aboard are watching, it would be cool to hear from you if you had an idea of where the ice cream maker was on board USS Little Rock. So I think I've narrowed it, at least in my head, I've narrowed it down to 2 different spaces. And let me know what you think. If you have comments, please feel free to leave them. And as always, thanks so much for your support. And we will see you again soon. Take care, everybody.